Obviously, this, as you can tell by the topic, this episode is going to be confronting and I guess full on. So we deal with topics such as domestic violence or violence against women. So if any of those topics are going to set off any alarm bells for you or trigger you in any way, please do not watch this episode. We recognize how confronting it may be, but we also recognize the importance to talk about these topics.
And by no means are we professionals. So if we will drop links in the below that if you do need to reach out or do need help, these will be professional links to go see people in those fields. This is just us talking about it and bringing light to it.
Welcome back to DNM Cast. And for context, it is the 27th of August at 9 a.m. right now. So if we are behind on anything going on in the world when this comes out, that is why. So we are recording this in advance. Yeah. This is an episode we've had in the works for a long time. So Luke, I'll throw it over to you to introduce our very special guest.
So we have a friend of the podcast, a good friend of mine, Jenna Smith. So thank you for joining us. You can give us a bit of insight about the topic that we're talking about today.
Well, I mean, I think I speak on behalf of all girls when I say I feel like I do need to be worried about my safety or the guys I'm hanging around, just because you can never be so sure. You can never be so sure on your safety. And I feel like it's something that I subconsciously am even thinking about, which is so horrible. But as a society, I think there's so much men and people can be doing to, you know, make women feel safer. So
100%. And that's the premise of this episode. I think using our platform in a way that's going to help people. And it's an epidemic at the moment going on, both domestic violence and violence against women in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will do our part and identify some ways in which we can keep our women safe. So as I alluded to before, it is an epidemic of violence against women in general. And that comes under the umbrella of that is domestic violence. So some stats we have pulled from Plan for Women's Safety, which is an Australian government initiative. 1 in 2 Australian women have experienced sexual harassment in their lifetime. 1 in 3 Australian women have experienced violence by a partner, other known person, or a stranger since the age of 15. 1 in 4 Australian women have experienced intimate partner violence since the age of 15. 1 in 4 Australian women have experienced emotional abuse by a former or current partner since the age of 15. And 1 in 5 Australian women have experienced sexual violence since the age of 15. These stats are obviously unacceptable. And I think as we all are, at the obvious standpoint that no one should lay a finger on their partner in an aggressive or violent manner. And statistically speaking, it's more often than not men asserting their genetic dominance over women and harming them in ways that they definitely shouldn't. And, you know, we can see the comments coming from a mile away that it's, you know, not all men and all this kind of bullshit. But that's beside the point in this scenario, because when we're talking about these topics, any number of men above 0 is too many fucking men. So, and that's embarrassing for us, as us 3 are men. Obviously you're not. And I don't like being part of that majority or statistic that the majority of abusers are men. Yep. So we will do our part to address and identify some ways in which we can, I guess, keep our women safer. So that's the premise of this episode, and we'll get straight into it. So I'll start with a pretty obvious one. This one's almost generic, but not very important at the same time. Crossing the street late at night when you're walking towards a lone girl or a group of girls. So is this something that you, I guess?
I feel like even when I'm on a walk around my area and if I see a guy coming towards me, I am immediately I feel like I'm under threat, even by like height wise, they're so much bigger than me. I get intimidated. I don't know what's going to happen. But if they're crossing the road, I just immediately, that threat is gone. I don't have anything to worry about.
It's such a simple action, I guess, and such a simple thing that most guys just don't even consider. And because like it's not a threat for us, like for guys.
I didn't have any idea about it.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to like put yourself in the shoes of a girl who's genetically and naturally a bit smaller and weaker. And how scary and confronting it can be for them, especially if the guy's taller or bigger in nature. So
and unfortunately, as much as men think that they're not doing anything wrong, they may not be doing anything wrong. There are just some settings where women do feel uncomfortable. And if you're walking late at night where there is a power imbalance or they're feeling scared walking down the street, then that's just a situation where they feel scared, and you have to understand that. And potentially moving across the other side of the street just eliminates it for the woman, even though you mean nothing by it and you're just going for a walk with your dog or whatever it is. You just have to understand that someone in front of you could be feeling under threat or could be uncomfortable.
Especially, I think this should be in broad daylight as well when you're running.
Definitely.
Like if a girl's walking and you're running up behind someone, the footsteps of that, especially in male footsteps, could be fucking extremely confronting. So just, I guess, recognizing that, taking that into consideration and just as such a simple action, crossing the road and mitigating the risk or like the potential risk in the girl's mind.
Yeah, or even having like someone, like I'm always looking behind me, seeing who's behind me. Like it's just so subconscious that I'm always a little bit on edge.
So would you say going forward, like people, the viewers listening, the guys that may be going for a walk by themselves, would you say it's like ideal just to like out of respect just cross the road to the other side?
Or even just like cross around the road. Like it's so simple, but it makes all the difference.
And it's fucked up that like it's come to this point, but it's come to this point and it's an epidemic. So we're going to do what we can to do it. And if that's what we have to do, then it's what we have to do. So it's the way it is.
Calling out early signs / recognizing when a friend or family member could be in danger.
Yeah.
So it's starting from the premise that understanding that you have different perspectives on things, and if you feel you could see like potential harm for a woman, you have to call out. You have to call it out immediately. So, for example, if you're out and you're seeing something not right, you have the perspective and you understand what's happening, and maybe the female doesn't. You have to call that out. You have to step in and protect that person. Not being in your shell, you have to go out of your shell and call it out when you see it.
It shows like a lot of courage for like people that actually do speak out. People might be like, once you speak out, like laugh at you. But if you can just own it and just say like, it's not fucking right. And like that goes a long way. And like you can eventually build sort of like the knowledge around it as well. Like obviously we don't have much really experience like understanding it properly and we're still learning. But like if more guys are educated on the actual like topic, goes a long way in the future for generation.
And there's so many red flags I think we have to all societally recognize, whether that be alcohol abuse that can lead to people doing shit that you wouldn't usually do. So and just the way that guys that you're with talk to their partner or girls in general, I think is a massive red flag as well, if it's a negative way or an abusive way. And calling that behavior out and just almost getting around the girl or the victims in the scenario and just, I guess, having a safety blanket there for them and recognizing that behavior early.
It's also understanding, just for example, you got stereotypes of males' locker rooms. Obviously, there is things said in males' locker rooms that probably aren't appropriate. It's about calling out that culture. Disrespecting women in that light as a joke isn't funny. And it's about understanding that so people don't take it literally or think it's okay to disrespect women in that light.
Have you had any experiences that you're willing or open, like feel comfortable saying? Like, have you been lucky in that sense where?
I feel like I have been very lucky. I've noticed in some friends that there can be some little red flags. But I always, you do what you can. It's an uncomfortable situation for everyone involved, but, looking out for them, doing what you can to kind of help in a way. Yeah. Just
as a girl's point of view, like obviously you're a female, but like, is it like if it happened to you, would you feel ashamed? Would you be able to talk about it? Do you reckon a lot of girls have experienced this and actually haven't spoken out?
Yes, absolutely. There would be so many. Yeah. It's because it's so scary. You don't want to come forward and like talk about this side of men because it is so scary.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes for girls in these kind of abusive relationships, coming forward can be a fucking scary, daunting thing to do. Definitely. Especially because if the partner finds out that you come forward, what's going to happen then?
It could get worse. So, only escalate from there.
It's almost those girls in those situations are reliant on external people to recognize the signs, and I guess they're providing small like help me signs, like picking up on those like signs that either the partner or the girl or the victim showing that things aren't right and taking a stand.
I think easier said than done talking about it.
And I think the next one's one where we're really big on, and it also goes into other topics, but we'll focus on the violence against women aspect of it. And it's challenging social norms and calling out social norms / behaviors that could lead to abuses or domestic violence in the future. And that comes a lot from guys in groups with toxic masculinity. And just challenging those norms and I guess building a new culture around making that shit unacceptable and those kind of jokes unacceptable, because they ultimately are. And if we stop normalizing that kind of culture, then especially in like all boy or all male settings, and I think that's a massive step in the right direction and something we can definitely do to like, I guess, investment in the future to keep our women safer.
Definitely. And I think it's important to promote emotional literacy, like teaching young people how to express themselves in an appropriate way to build appropriate conversations around talking about women. So especially for young people hearing, in sporting industries, hearing about how older people talk about women can be very dangerous, wanting to be someone like that. But it's about understanding that isn't appropriate, and building good emotional skills and literacy surrounding women to help them feel safer and talk about them in a positive and appropriate light.
I feel like it starts when you're young too. I feel like it's something you can be taught when you're younger.
Yeah, and no one comes out of the room ready to go and hit women. Like, that's just not the way it is. It's like,
taught.
It's the way either you abuse as a kid, which God forbid, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
And it results in problems down the line. Or like, it's how you're raised or the groups, people you choose to hang out with or stuff like that. It's no one comes out of the room ready to swing at girls. Like, that's just the way it is. It's brought up.
I think it's good that everyone can talk about it now openly so well. Like, we're having a conversation now for the future generation to actually be educated on it from a young sort of age. Going forward, like, I don't see this being as big as it is right now in 20 so years.
No way.
Yeah, it's become an epidemic. Like, that is the word that they're throwing around now in news outlets, especially earlier this year when like so many women keep dying at the hands of men, and it's just becoming a fucking problem. And epidemic is definitely the appropriate term.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just need to call it out and stop. And that's like one of my points I put down is like, because I just don't get it. Just don't fucking hit girls. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Just don't, like, there's a genetic imbalance there and a natural, I guess, strength difference and a natural emotional difference as well. Just like, girls like should be protected, not abused. Like, I just don't get how someone could hit a girl, but like, I guess that's the problem we're calling out, because some people clearly think it's acceptable. So yeah, just don't
it is
do
not
it.
Fucking acceptable.
Just don't do it. I don't get it. Like, it's not funny at all. It's just fucked up, and it's embarrassing.
Bare minimum to not do it.
Literally below the bare, like even below the bare minimum. It's like, it should just be an expectation, but it's fucked up that we have to talk about it. So we'll talk about it until it stops. So, and that's just the way it is.
And we're not, obviously there is good people doing their part out there, but we're putting light out there that there are bad people still doing these things, as these like statistics don't lie.
Yeah.
So it is very serious, and it may not be a problem for you. You may not see it, but out there, maybe at your neighbour's house or across the road or wherever it is, out and about, there is so much violence against women that needs to be stopped. So and the numbers are too high.
I've got a ABC article here. So this is from the 1st of July. At this point, so 1st of July 2024, 17 more women have been killed at the hand by the men than the similar time to last year.
Yeah.
So it's plus 17 at 17 July, and God forbid it's probably more now.
Yeah.
So it's on a trajectory we don't want it to be on.
Yeah.
And it's just, education is a huge part of it as well. I think that's the socio-economical, I guess, history of a person or a man in this case has a lot to do with how he grows up and treats women. So I think it's providing the necessary education even in the worst public schools, or like the schools that aren't the best off financially. Like, that should be a consistent, I guess, education status throughout all levels of school, and how we treat women, I think. And that's needed evidently now. Like, there's a problem there, we got to fix it. So
a big thing obviously is changing societal norms, but it is about celebrating kindness, being kind to everyone, especially women. And I think understanding that being kind goes a long way, and keep trying to be a kind person, especially towards women, is going to go a long way. So that's probably one of my points I would like to bring up.
Celebrating good. And I think you shouldn't have to, it should be expected when a guy treats a girl well, but it's at the point now where we have to fucking celebrate that. So it's like, you shouldn't have to celebrate it, but I guess do it until it stops. Celebrate the good and condemn the bad, I guess. And
that's really what it is. You got to, keep celebrating the kindness. When you do see your friends
treating a girl right,
you have to let them know that is acceptable, and that is, like, in the terms of appropriate behavior.
And conversely, calling out the fucking shit that if your friend's treating a girl wrong, don't fucking let it happen. Don't be a bystander. Let it happen. Be an individual, not a follower.
I think there's a lot of good guys out there. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
there's probably more good than bad, but the bad
definitely
get the media like attention, obviously, with the shit they do, and that's like, we need to rule out the bad. And there's always going to be good. There's always going to be bad, but we need to mitigate the bad as much as possible and lock up the bad, and then the good will hopefully overtake. But at the moment, all the bad men are getting the media attention, which is embarrassing for all men. So
I think all the bad men equivalent to all the good men. Like it overpowers like the positive in the world.
It is. And if there's even slight negative, it'll always outnumber the positive. But we need to be really, I guess, compress the negative, especially in this topic. Like it's just out of control, and way too many women are like, either getting abused or getting like their lives taken from it at the hands of men. So,
Coming back, do you reckon there'll be a time where you actually feel comfortable walking and there's a guy?
Honestly, I hope for society and women in general that one day we won't see men as a threat or be worried about what could happen. I would love that one day. Yeah. But at the minute,
do you have anything that like you have like carry that like obviously may like help protect you? Like, is that a thing that girls do?
Well, in Australia, I feel like we're not allowed much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can have a taser. You absolutely can't have like a knife on you.
Yeah.
But there isn't much I can do to protect myself.
I'd say pepper spray at least should be legalized.
Is it?
I bought my ex a taser once.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, fuck this. Like, when I was 18, I bought myself a taser. I bought her one as well.
I think pepper spray the least like is like the most like that a girl should actually have. Like,
yeah,
because it's just like,
I know.
It's like some sort of like self-defense in case of like that 1% chance of happening.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 gigantic dogs. So when I'm on a walk, I'll always take them.
Yeah.
So, and people will just cross anyway because they're scared of the dogs.
No, definitely.
Good. Yeah.
And I don't think people realize, but girls are walking in the street with gigantic dogs or tasers in their pocket because they are genuinely scared of that 1% of something happening to them.
How do people not realize by that, people saying that, like it's an actual fucking issue?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like learn about it, you know?
Yeah. And it's so much around education. It's understanding the issue and educating yourself to be able to help.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing, is just around education of it all.
And yeah, as Luke alluded to, I guess at the start, if you do need help or you recognize one of your friends, family, or a complete stranger is in danger, there will be adequate and appropriate links for professional help, because we are by no means professionals in this space. We're just trying to do our part to identify ways we can improve society and keep our women safe. So
Definitely.
Yeah. So moving on from that, we'll probably revisit as we go on. It's a newish segment. I don't know if this will still be a thing by the time this comes out. Hopefully it is.
Yeah.
We're going to do it now. It's called Riz or Miss. So,
got a couple good ones that people have sent in. Have you watched the podcast?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you watched the first couple clips?
Yes.
The coin story, you aware of that one? Yeah. All right, sweet. It's relating to this. So I used Diesel's coin trick on a girl and it worked. I said to her that it was my grandfather's and he's not here anymore with us. That was the last thing he gave me. So
Immediate miss.
That was the line that
Immediate miss. We can't be promoting that kind of behavior.
She continues to keep seeing me after meeting her at the SB. She's yet to know about the coin story and that it was inspo behind Diesel's story.
Yeah, immediate miss.
I did not encourage any of that behavior, as long as I did it, but I didn't intend to.
Yeah,
start a trend.
Start a trend. I think that's a miss.
I think if it's effective, then obviously Riz, but we don't endorse it, so it's miss.
I think going forward, if you want to pursue something with someone, that would probably be it.
I don't think lying to impress someone is optimal for
what if she finds out?
I know.
I'm gonna find out who was the said at the TikTok.
What do you reckon? Good or
no? That's not good.
If someone did that to you,
that's fucked up.
No, that's
bad
fucked up. Whoever did that.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. All right. This one's actually really good. I like this one.
Yeah.
Please tell me if this is Riz or not. I went to the restaurant and whilst I was... Sorry, let me restart. I can't read if you can't tell. Please tell me if this is Riz or not. I went to a restaurant with a girl and whilst she was in the bathroom, I went and paid. As we've walked past the counter and she's gone to pay. I told her, don't worry about it. They look after me here. We've walked out and she thinks I'm super cool. Super cool. Is this Riz or not?
That's Riz. I reckon that's fine.
I think that's borderline Riz.
I think it is too.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like,
is.
there's no real lies being thrown around there. Like, you've paid for it. Like, you don't have to worry about being paid. So she doesn't have to worry about it. It's like the way it is. So
yeah.
Imagine he dabbed up the guy. Yeah, he's like, thanks, bro.
the guy's like confused as fuck. Yeah. Okay.
You pay him to celebrate. You like, you take photos of you walking out or something.
It's fair play. I reckon that's good.
Yeah.
I rate that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It is Riz.
What's your best story that like a guy has like done to impress you? You reckon? Where you'd be like, whoa.
Anything really effective Riz? What works on you?
honestly, I feel like, I don't know.
Looks in the corner.
Guys don't have any riz, honestly.
Guys
No,
don't.
they actually don't.
Especially Diesel.
Wow, that's what me.
Right. So that was Riz or Miss. Again, I don't know if that's been canned by the time this comes out. So
Yeah.
hopefully not. If not, it's a nice little revisit into that segment.
And keep sending in things of Riz or Miss and we'll react to it.
Or don't if it's been canned. So
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll
sweet.
see.
This is cool though. I kind of like this. This is going to come out in like a month. So we just don't know what's going to happen in the world. So we might be talking really insensitively. I don't know.
I'm kind of getting that vibe, but that's all right.
It's fine.
We might be able to cut things up.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Big Brother advice. You send in things and we react to it and give you our advice on it. So we've obviously had a lot of relationship advice and we're kind of going away from that a little bit. So I want to give some different topics. I've always wanted to be an influencer. How do I become an influencer? Is there some sort of thing you apply for, or do people just see you post and you become one? I've seen you guys come out of nowhere. How'd you become influencers on Instagram, especially Instagram?
I wouldn't say we're influencers at all.
Luke posts thirst traps in a so she's laughing. She's seen
It's
them.
true.
She posts a lot worse thirst traps than I do.
Absolutely
But
not.
Those are good. So.
If it works, it works. But no, I wouldn't say we're influencers by any means.
No.
I think the come out of nowhere for us is definitely true. That's like, and there's no form you sign to become an influencer or like get followers or like get sent shit. Like it's all about influence. So if a brand thinks that you're going to have an influence on their like products marketing, then they're going to send you a free hoodie or something. So it's all about influence and building influence, and it's literally the name influencer. So,
And what would you give to someone wanting to become an influencer?
just post like, how the fuck are you going to become an influencer without
that's
starting?
Do something that you love doing, because if you
Yeah.
fall into the trap of doing something you're not enjoying, you'll fucking hate it at the
Yeah.
end, and then like having to make the switch between like something you hate and you love.
End of the day, you're being an influencer. You're posting shit online consistently.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Just post what you think's going to do well. If you think it's going to do well, it'll probably do well at the end of the day. If you're consistent enough, it'll all pay off. Just consistency and just fucking start. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can't
Honestly,
reiterate.
too, it can happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like I remember I went to bed one night, I had like no followers. Next morning, like a video has like almost 10 million views. And that's like, it's terrifying, but it can just happen overnight, honestly.
exactly. There you go. How many followers do you have on TikTok?
170 something thousand.
There you go. So experience, seasoned professionals over here giving you
So I think
free advice.
I think the biggest thing is just putting yourself out there.
Yeah, definitely.
You're not going to get anywhere if you don't put yourself out there. If it's just an idea in your head, then you won't become anything. So put yourself out there and then just try if you want to do that.
Yeah. There's no shortcuts as well. Like,
Definitely. The next thing, I have 3 younger sisters. One of my younger sister, who is now in year 12, has been seeing a guy. She started to stay over at his house. As a big brother, how do I handle this situation?
Yeah, I've never had to personally. My sister is a bit younger than me, and she has never brought home a guy or anything like or a girl. But like, I've never had to experience this, and I don't know how I'd react. I think I could be a bit like fucking toey on it.
I'm experiencing this now. No, I don't know. She's always like, if you look at your little sister, you always think like she's kind of like a child, like your child at least. Like you have so much protection over her. And me and my sister Lolita are really close, but like she's had like 2, would you say like play boyfriends, like just like high school, blah blah blah. But then now she's talking to this guy and he's actually really nice. You get to know the guy from like a different level, and luckily enough, like he's one of my mate's brothers, and I've sort of like known him for a while, sort of, and he's actually a really good guy. I actually probably like him more than my sister now. But I think like you just got to let it happen. She'll experience.
But how would you feel if he like does her completely wrong?
Oh
and
yeah,
fucking
like
breaks her heart? Are you
it
gonna,
would
like,
be
wanna kill him?
devastating.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's put herself out there to learn. Like she's going to need to do it to kind of experience how she's going to handle another relationship. Like like obviously depends on what he does. Like if he physically hurts her, like we were talking about before, like abuse and all that, that's an issue. And that's something that I don't want to get involved with, but I'm probably going to. But like I think she's very mature enough to handle her own problems. And whether she'll handle her own problems very well. I trust her with that. But yeah.
And obviously you are older, so you've experienced different things, so you can understand the signs and you can see what a boy's trying to do, and all you can do, like she's entitled to see experiences for herself. So you just have to let her go through it, and you just tell her that this is probably what he's doing or this is probably what he's thinking. You can give your opinion, but at the end of the day, it's as long as she's safe, then that's up to her. If she wants to pursue relationships, then that's not really your place to interfere. You have to let her experience those things. But obviously that's within reason. Like obviously if he's a, shit cum or something, then that's different. But
do you have siblings?
Yeah, I've got an older sister. Yep.
Was she a bit toy when you started branching out
Not
to
really.
guys?
I think more her boyfriend is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been together like almost 5 years, and he's like an older brother for me.
Yeah.
So if I'm crying about a boy, he's like right there being like, no, get rid of him.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he like big boy as well, like scary?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
You love fucking staring at too.
Fair enough.
My next one, my parents have recently gotten a divorce and no one saw it coming. It was it wasn't a pretty breakup. It was very hard to hear the consistent arguments. Very hard to cope with this. Have you got any advice?
With a divorce, I can't speak on this.
I'm very fortunate that I haven't gone through a divorce. My family's always been very good
same
in that sense. But I know, Diesel, you've been through. Is there anything that helped you cope through a divorce?
If the parents are like saying that they're going to get a divorce, it's for the best.
Yeah.
You can't force a relationship. And you can't force someone to be together to make you happy. At the end of the day, it's your parents. They all have feelings too. And if they're not happy, then the family's not happy in a way. At the start for my dad, like he obviously didn't want it. And then obviously my mum initiated it. But then like coming together, they both needed it. They both needed to be separate. They had their own issues and problems. I think for someone a lot of people, I didn't feel it, but a lot of people think it's their fault. I never felt it was my fault. I just think that, I don't know, we're very mature about the situation at the same time. But for someone coping with it, I think you have to go through the struggles to learn that sort of like strength in the future. And you'll thank yourself 2 years later and think that it's a really good solution at the end of the day. Yeah. But yeah, just keep fighting. Definitely talk about it to people. Don't keep it in. And just reach out to as many people, ask people that have had divorced parents for advice, and just try to hear your parents like separately. Never fall in the trap of your mum talking bad about your dad or your dad talking about your mum, because that plays a huge role and you may just lose relationships.
Are you lucky enough to have your parents still together?
Yeah, my parents are still together. But I've got friends with parents that are separated, but in the end I think it honestly works out better, because everyone, like if parents are fighting or having issues, it's better for the kids to not be having parents that have a lot of conflict. Yeah. It can be, it's making the peace. It can be healing in a way. And once that healing is done, it's beneficial.
And I'm fortunate in the sense that I have broken up, but I've got friends as well. Like when I was talking to you during that time, as a friend, I think you just have to understand that they are going through something pretty serious and something that I wouldn't be able to understand. So it's just being there for them. If they want to reach out to talk to you, then they can. Just being in a position where you can know that they're there for you.
Yeah. I had a best friend at the time, Jai. His name was Jai Kenny. He's a good kid. But like, if you have someone like him and he was offering for me to stay at his house like every weekend and all that, like you need someone like that to really like help you out. And like the person that offers and stuff, they don't know how much it actually means to someone that like goes through the struggle like that.
That was a wrap on Big Brother advice. So we went a little bit different from relationships, and I like doing different topics, so keep setting them in. We do see them all, and we'll try get through them all and give you our best advice on what we would do. So keep sending them in.
And reminder, it's definitely not bound to relationship advice, and I think that's what we kind of pigeonholed ourselves into doing at the start. So it's everything. Talk about exes and Big stuff. Brothers, we're here. So just anything in life, we've got experience in a range of fields outside of relationships. So take advantage of it. Diesel's diary. All right, so this story
is fucked up.
We may not be able to include because welcome back to Diesel's diary. Again, this may have been canned because Diesel told a fucked up story before this.
It's like really bad.
But this is my favorite segment.
My favorite segment as well. It's this story I have had a preview of is very questionable and it may genuinely not make the cut. This is probably the most fucked up we've had. So without further ado, this is Diesel's diary.
Fuck it. Welcome back. When I was younger, I saw my grandma's vagina.
What the fuck?
Fuck.
Give us the details, baby.
Alright, so I was playing with my brother. Fucking hell.
Keep going.
I was playing with my brother and we were going down a flight of stairs. We're going down a flight of stairs and we were just walking down. And you know when you're a kid and you like slide down the pole in the middle?
Yeah.
I'm sliding down the pole. It's like me and my brother, and we're like fucking zooming. My grandma's like walking around the corner, and she's like coming down the stairs. I'm like, Grandma, can you do this? And then she's just like, yeah, probably. I'll probably do this. Fuck. Oh my God. I'm actually going to do what she did. Because fuck. She like goes, she puts her foot over like that. It's on the pole. And she's wearing a dress. I'm like, why the fuck is she not wearing any underwear? She's not wearing any underwear at all, and me and my brother are like on the pole fence. His head's like this, and my head, I'm in front of him like that.
Oh my God.
And then we just like look at each other like, what the fuck? The worst part was she's sliding down, and it's making a squeaking noise. I don't know if it was that. It was probably her hand. I love you, Grandma.
Oh no.
Oh, it was
my
so
God.
bad.
Your stories are always so twisted.
It's fucked up. My great grandma started getting what's the thing called where you start to think you're young again? You forget Alzheimer's, and she was like 92, sleeping in like a nursing home. She was lovely, but she got in trouble and she got kicked out of a nursing home because she kept on sneaking into guys' rooms and sleeping with them.
Wow.
And she'd wake up every night a different guy's bed.
God.
And she's sleeping, getting around with fucking...
So that's where you get it from.
Me? New partnership? Yes, you.
Slip.
Fuck, that is actually good. I'm not promoting this. Well, I am promoting this, but like, this is not like fake or anything. We had a sit-down meeting with this company, local Brewing and Co. Lovely guys. They were funny as fuck. I tasted their beer, and their beer genuinely is the best tasting beer. I'm actually not joking.
I don't like beer. Maybe I've got to try it.
Did you try it?
Do you want to try some of that? It's
I
like
can't drive.
every 4-pack that you buy, they donate a meal to someone in need through a charity partner.
Yeah, so they work with Second Bite, who also work with massive companies like Coles and stuff like that. So we're really grateful to have them on board, and that's a major reason why we partnered with them.
So far, so good. I'm very excited to work with these guys.
Yeah,
this is 1.5 standard as well. So it's pretty strong.
Thank you for watching whatever episode this ends up being. Again, if we seem culturally or societally out of touch, it is because we are recording this on the 27th of August. So everything we've talked about is current to this time. So apologies if we seem out of touch with anything we've talked about. Hopefully, while you're listening to this, we are away in Phuket, which bringing up, we are going to Phuket. So 8th to the 18th of October. If you were in Thailand or Phuket, come fucking see us. Let's party. Yeah. Let's have a good fucking time.
Yeah, I'm so keen. I'm very excited. We will toss up between Bali, but Phuket's been the chosen destination.
And
so
Patong Beach. That's where we're staying right on Patong Beach. So
Luke doesn't want to run into his ex. So.
Yeah, there'll be no ex run stories in Thailand. We've learned a lesson.
Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for. So
wrap it.